Hi everyone, I'm Wim, and today we're examining whether the Catholic Church actually accepts evolution. Short answer, not really. It pays lip service to evolution and genetics, but when it comes to the core theological commitments like Adam and Eve, original sin, when they think death entered the world, the Church still demands belief in a framework that contradicts directly evolutionary facts. Let's start with the official teaching from Pope Pius XII's 1950 papal encyclical Humani Generis, paragraph 37. Quote, "When, however, there is question of another conjectural opinion, namely polygenism, the children of the Church by no means enjoy such liberty, for the faithful cannot embrace that opinion which maintains that either after Adam there existed on this earth true men who did not take their origin through natural generation from him, as from the first parent of all, or that Adam represents a certain number of first parents. Now it is in no way apparent how such an opinion can be reconciled with that which the sources of revealed truth and the documents of the teaching authority of the Church propose with regard to original sin, which proceeds from a sin actually committed by an individual Adam, and which, through generation, is passed on to all and is in everyone as his own." End quote. That's the official position. It's a magisterial teaching, not infallible, but it does come from the official teaching authority of the Church. And this magisterial document states that Catholics are not permitted to believe that humans descended from a population rather than a single couple. Why? Because then the whole doctrine of original sin, that it came from one couple's choice and is passed down biologically, falls apart. But there's something dishonest happening here. The Church rejects what it calls polygenism, but it collapses two completely different ideas under that label. The first is the racist pseudo-scientific theory that different races had separate origins, rightly rejected and known as polygenism. But secondly, under polygenism, it also mentions the well-supported scientific view, foundational to biology, that humans evolved gradually over many generations from populations of earlier hominins, not from a single human pair. By using the same word, polygenism, for both, this magisterial document sets up a false choice. Either you accept the unity of humanity through Adam, or you believe something that denies human equality. But that's not what scientists say. The modern view affirms a common origin in shared ancestral populations, not separate origin events. What we now know based on population genetics is that Homo sapiens emerged gradually from earlier populations, not from a single couple. The earliest anatomically modern humans arose from a shared gene pool of thousands of individuals in Africa. There was never a first human. There was never a clean break from non-human to human. Think of it this way. Requiring the existence of a first human is like saying there had to be a first speaker of French. But languages evolve gradually. Latin gradually turned into French across various generations of speakers. There is no clean moment when it suddenly switched. No one said, "Voilà, now I speak French," while their parents didn't. That's absurd. That's like claiming a baby turned into an adult from one day to the next. And it's exactly the same with species. There is no first human. Evolution works through countless small changes over numerous generations. Trying to draw a sharp line and say, this one was Adam, is an essentialist fallacy. It doesn't reflect how biology works. The Catholic Church is pushing a fantasy here and requiring the biological equivalent of a first speaker of French, instead of realizing that, like languages gradually change in pools of speakers, similarly, biological populations evolve gradually without any hard boundary from non-human to human. And we haven't even addressed the fall yet. The Church insists that through Adam's sin, death entered the world. But that's also totally incompatible with evolution, or actually just biology in general. Death didn't arrive with humans. It predates us by billions of years. It's inherent to the process. Creatures were dying, evolving, and going extinct long before. The idea that one choice by one couple somehow introduced death into a previously perfect world, that's not just mythic, it's biologically incoherent. So, Humani Generis insists on a literal Adam, a single original couple, and a historical fall. The document equivocates on the term polygenism, confusing scientific population origins with racist pseudoscience. It clings to an essentialist view of human nature that directly contradicts evolution, and it tries to preserve a doctrine of original sin and death that makes no sense in a world where life evolved through death. That's not a reconciliation, that's a patch job. Now, to be fair, in a more recent document from 2004 by the Church's International Theological Commission, entitled Communion and Stewardship, Human Persons Created in the Image of God, the Commission tries to soften the edges a bit. The International Theological Commission is a consultative body. It does not issue magisterial teachings like papal encyclicals. Its documents do not carry doctrinal authority, but they can signal directions in theological thinking and are often read as reflecting the perspectives of high-level church theologians. This document states, quote, Catholic theology affirms that the emergence of the first members of the human species, whether as individuals or in populations, represents an event that is not susceptible of a purely natural explanation and which can appropriately be attributed to divine intervention. Acting indirectly through causal chains operating from the beginning of cosmic history, God prepared the way for what Pope John Paul II has called an ontological leap, the moment of transition to the spiritual. While science can study these causal chains, it falls to theology to locate this account of the special creation of the human soul within the overarching plan of the triune God to share the communion of Trinitarian life with human persons who are created out of nothing in the image and likeness of God, and who, in His name and according to His plan, exercise a creative stewardship and sovereignty over the physical universe. Close quote. That sounds like progress. Even though it still allows for the essentialist and wrong idea of two original individuals, it also mentions a population-level origin as an option. But then it immediately pivots and reintroduces the same old essentialism, quote, the special creation of the human soul, close quote. So even if humans arose from a population as one of the given options, the Church still insists that at some undefined moment, some individuals, and not others, were ensouled. as if some first couple in a group of our ancestors was given a soul, but their fathers and mothers, grandfathers and grandmothers, cousins, nieces, nephews didn't, and were by implication something ontologically different, again contradicting evolutionary theory and returning to the same wrong-headed essentialism, drawing a hard line between fully human and not yet human. So yes, that consultative document acknowledges population origins as one of the options, but it still tries to preserve the theological fiction of a clean black and white break in an otherwise continuous evolutionary process. If the Church wants to genuinely engage with science, it has to do more than adopt evolution's vocabulary. It has to accept its implications. That means letting go of the incoherent idea that one man's or one couple's sin biologically infected all of humanity. It means giving up the fantasy of a golden age of perfection shattered by a single moral lapse. It means retiring the theological scaffolding built on a non-existent Adam, a biologically impossible fall, and an essentialist ensoulment of a couple. The Adam and Eve story may have symbolic or mythic value, but pretending it's literal history forces the Church to misrepresent science and sacrifice coherence to maintain dogma. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. See you next time. Bye.